Hi, I'm Ross Rapoport, and welcome to this edition of RoadflyTV. Today I'll be stepping into some unfamiliar territory with the 2014 Mercedes-Benz E250 Bluetec. That last word, Bluetec, is the current Benz term for diesel, and this new E250 is effectively the base model of the E-Class range. So let's talk about what's new, starting with the outside. The E-Class received a major facelift last year. The dual headlights are gone, and the grille has been restyled into this sharper German cow catcher you see here. LED daytime lamps are a new standard feature, and full LED headlights are available. The rear has been restyled with standard LED tails, and the optional spoiler spices things up a bit. The other major change worth noting comes under the hood. This new E250 effectively replaces the old E350 diesel. And keeping with the current trend of downsizing engines, the old 6-cylinder has been replaced by a turbocharged 4. In this case, it's a 2.1-liter affair, making 195 horsepower at 3,800 RPM and 369 pound-feet of torque at 1,600 RPM. So let's see how this new engine fares out on the road. Our test car also comes equipped with 4MATIC, Mercedes' old, trusty four-wheel drive system. But in this car, it's more of a safety thing than a performance thing, and actually slows the car down a tick. According to Mercedes, this car will do 0 to 60 in 8.2 seconds, compared with 7.9 seconds for a standard rear-drive E250. But that's okay, because burning tires and kicking the tail out, that's not what you do in a sub-200 horsepower diesel Mercedes. You keep the wheels straight and you take it easy, which this car does better than most. I actually had the pleasure of testing it in the middle of a snowstorm, and the way it went about its business was really impressive. No drama at all, just chugged ahead like a steel locomotive, with not even a warning sign from the traction control. The impressive suite of safety technology adds to this feeling of indestructibility, with active lane keeping assist, active blind spot assist, and a host of 360-degree laser-guided tech to keep you from hurting yourself or anybody else. That 369 pound-feet of torque sounds like a total blast, but this is a 4,400-pound car, so the fun is in relatively short supply. It moves away smartly from a stoplight, the turbo spools up, and then, all of a sudden, upshift. Remember, this is a diesel car. So there is a manual shift function for the 7-speed automatic, but again, that really isn't how you drive this car. You just sit back and enjoy the impressive fuel economy. Mercedes claim this car will do 27 miles per gallon in the city and 42 on the highway, figures I have no problem believing because in my short and very inefficient stop-start cold weather time with the car, it's returned about 23 miles per gallon. So we all know that people in my line of work are afflicted with lead foot disease, so for a driver like me in a car like this, 23 mpg is pretty impressive. Another really nice thing about testing a car like this in wintry conditions is that I really grew to appreciate the interior. It is a paradise of nostalgia in here, with blocky styling everywhere you look to echo the Benzes of the late 80s and early 90s. And I especially love the standard wood trim in the non-shiny finish. I really wish that it were dark outside right now so I could effectively demonstrate just how warm and inviting the ambient lighting in this car really is. Another thing is that the windows seem to have been designed specifically to disperse the maximum amount of snow with a quick down and back. Little things like that are what make me think, this is why people spend the extra money for a Mercedes. On the other hand, there are some decidedly unluxurious oversights as well. For example, there seems to be a total lack of a smart key system. So, you've still got to take it out of your pocket and stick it in the ignition and turn it to start the car. Next up on my list of complaints, the nav system. Now, this will sound like a nitpick, but what is the current Mercedes marketing slogan? The best or nothing? So I think they need to hear this. Unfortunately, the power button doesn't just turn off your music, it turns off your entire navigation screen. I think they thought this little mute button here would do the trick, but then of course your music keeps playing. So, in this 2014 $65,000 executive Mercedes, there is no way to have your music playing and continue to be navigating on screen. Unless, that is, you switch to a different input and then hit the mute button. And that sounds like a lot of work for the driver of a car like this. And another gripe is actually one of this car's coolest features. It has cameras all around it to provide a 360-degree view when you're parking or on demand. But the only problem is that getting it on demand is so cumbersome that it's barely worth it. Just look at what I have to do. I have to hit this button, then go down to this knob, select 360-degree camera, and then pull up on it to toggle through the different views. Now, this is such a cool technology, it needs its own button right here, just right there. It's a super cool feature, but like the nav, sort of handicapped by a clumsy interface. Next up is the options list. I know, it's very cliche by now to ding the Germans for the expensive options, so let's just cut right to the chase. The nav and that cool 360-degree camera are both optional to the tune of about $5,000, which would be less painful if they were easier to use. And what's most glaring to me is that on a $65,000 car, you still don't get real leather on the seats. I know, MB-Tex is better, it lasts longer, blah, 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 but on a car this new, I saw a shocking amount of color transference, obviously from people wearing jeans. Now, if this is happening already, it makes me wonder if the synthetic material really does hold up better in the long run. So, there you have it. Another idiosyncratic German luxury car that has certain characteristics that make you scream, I gotta have it, and other ones that do the exact opposite. I'm Ross Rapoport. Thanks for watching me today. As always, comment on this video and find me on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you.